Thanks for taking a part of your day to join us. Exactly 3 months from the home opener for the 2023 season at Parkview Field. So fittingly, the Padres now at this point, just a moment ago, have announced our coaching staff for 2023. And we're really excited to share that it's headlined by our former hitting coach, Jonathan Mathews, returning now to be our manager. Johnny was here in 2018 and 19 and 21, coming off of helping to lead AAA El Paso to a division title last year. And now a Midwesterner back here at Parkview Field. He's joining us from his home in Centerville, Iowa today. But before we open it up to for you guys to ask questions to Jonathan, Mike, if you want to just jump in and kind of set things up here.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. Jonathan, congratulations, man. And to everybody that's on here with us, John and I are great friends. I couldn't be happier that Jonathan Mathews is our manager. When I first heard, I was ecstatic. He and I were texting along with Riley Westman, the director of player development. He's a friend. I don't say that like it's just throwing that term out there. We've been texting all the time since after he left here. He's got incredible experience with us at the major league level, at the AAA level, comes from a great baseball family. His dad was in scouting and player development forever. So excited, have already had a chance to speak with our hitting coach and our bench coach. And there's a lot of optimism. You guys want to hear from him more than you want to hear from me, but I just wanted to jump on real quick, welcome him and tell him congratulations.
Thanks, Mike. You know, I couldn't be more excited. As I've kind of told you, it's good to see your face.
Thanks.
And looking forward to seeing it more often here in a few months. But Fort Wayne's a special place to me. Again, I'm from the Midwest. I love that town. The ballpark is obviously off the charts, and the job that you guys do is incredible. So I couldn't be more excited.
Awesome, man. I can't wait.
Great stuff. Thanks, guys. Anyone's got any questions, feel free to unmute and speak up.
What about this particular job organization, everything put together, made this job opportunity more appealing than maybe other options that would have been out there?
A number of things. First, Mike Nutter's probably at the top of the list. Parkview Field is at the top of the list. A chance to get back into the manager's seat. I've been a hitting coach here recently. I've managed as a younger coach, and the chance to get back in the manager's seat was exciting to me. And then honestly, Fort Wayne is it's 7 hours maybe from where I live, but I can sneak home on occasion on an off day. There's just a lot of things. And honestly, the Fort Wayne affiliate is kind of the crown jewel of all of the Padres affiliates. And so I don't know. It's hard for me to think of a better place to be in the minor leagues than in Fort Wayne.
Do you prefer to work with guys who aren't quite as far along in their path to the big league?
I do. That's an interesting question. I enjoyed AAA last year. And getting to call some of those guys into the office and tell them they're going to the big leagues for the first time is really cool. And, they're grown men kind of, but they're still tiers, and it's a life-changing experience. And to be a part of that is really cool. But at the same time, I feel like having an impact on younger players kind of starting out their careers is probably, where I enjoy my workday the best.
These guys may not know this is your third team in the league, right? Kane County.
Yes, South Bend, Kane County, and here. Yep.
Yeah, Kane County's not affiliated with us in the league anymore, but so he's hit 3 of the 12 or 3 of the 13.
I guess, Jonathan, just for you, obviously going from hitting coach now to manager, what is your managerial philosophy? How do you plan to get the most out of these guys?
It's interesting. People ask, I think a lot of times in baseball, they say, well, how are you going to play? Are you going to be aggressive on the bases? Are you going to be, play for the 3-run homer? Those sorts of things. I think in baseball, first and foremost, that's going to depend on the roster that we have. And I don't know really what that's going to be yet. And so I think in baseball, as opposed to maybe, football or basketball, where you can kind of tailor a system, in baseball, I think these are the players we have. These are the pieces we have. And then how do we get the most out of them? And what does that look like on the field? As far as the work day, it's going to be pretty structured. It's it's kind of a grind. The minor league system is a grind, but we're going to be very intentional with our work. I'm not a big fan of just busy work. It's a long season for these guys. So everything we do, I want them to do with intent, and it's going to be, we're going to get the most out of the time that we spend.
Jonathan, you worked with Anthony Contreras from 2018 to 2021 here in Fort Wayne. How does that experience being around AC and then being around the Tin Caps at Parkview Field, how does that help you this time around in a role where you're now the guy leading the franchise?
AC and I are best of friends, and it's hard to separate us. The Padres, it was, when they put the staffs together, it seemed like we kept lining up with each other, which I thoroughly enjoyed my time with AC. I learned a lot from him, the way he managed. I think he would ask me questions also, given that I've got more gray hair than he does. And so we kind of worked back and forth, and it was a wonderful working relationship. And I guess I'll be sitting in his office, what I would call his office, because he was in there for so long. And I used to tease him. At one point, he won X amount of games in Fort Wayne and became the all-time winningest manager in Fort Wayne history. And somebody said something about it, and I said, well, you're probably also the all-time losingest manager in Fort Wayne history. But my relationship with AC is incredible, and I, again, can't be more excited to be moving kind of into his office.
Mike, aside from being a good friend of yours, what about Jonathan's managerial style do you think stood out to you the most?
Well, I think the communication skills are tremendous. We always joke, we got, he was very complimentary of us and the operation and me personally, and that's nice, and it's certainly appreciated. But like within any organization, right, you have all kinds of different personalities and stuff. And I saw him with the guys in uniform and the Padres executives just communicating perfectly and respectfully and professionally. And then with us, sometimes our band of misfits, I'm coming in, Keith Winter's telling him something else. We're talking about weather, all those kinds of things. He's just a tremendous communicator. And he has this long experience at every level, from rookie ball all the way up to the big leagues as a coach and as a manager in some of those stops. And so there's not a lot of new stuff. And it might sound cliche, but when you have the respect for him that I do and that Keith does and that anybody around here that's met him, you're just genuinely excited. And we're looking forward to getting to know everybody else. And John Nolan sent the release out, but I met Lauren, our athletic trainer, because she was here to shadow last year or the year before for a few weeks. But other than that, we've never met anybody on this thing other than Jonathan. So people on the outside don't understand. We've already been talking and texting. There's been Zooms from the Padres with our coaching staff. We're already lining up apartments and hotels and all those kinds of things. There's some logistics, but when you know the heart and the leadership skills of the person that's the skipper in the club case, we're very excited. I should add that Brian Esposito, who we enjoyed our one season with for sure, he's moving all the way up to AAA to be their bench coach. So we're excited for Brian, but we're just so excited to get John in here. We're really pumped about that.
Jonathan, you talked about it a little bit, but what excites you the most about getting back in the manager's chair? Obviously, you love being in baseball and you enjoy being a hitting coach, but what excites you the most about being in the big chair again?
The game, like running the game, kind of the, and I tell our players that baseball's gotten, people talk about the analytics and so much information and so much data, and that's true. But I also tell our players, sometimes it's checkers, it doesn't always have to be chess. Sometimes it is checkers. But that little chess match, when the game starts, there's so much that goes on during the course of a 9-inning baseball game that a lot of people don't understand. And it can get long. I know that. Games can be 3 hours plus, and that gets long for us too. But there's so much that goes on between the dugouts, between the field. And that's the part that I love the best. Setting up the work schedule, that'll be great, you know. And then the relationship with the players is the other thing that's big for me. And that's kind of where I hang my hat. I think that's one of my strong suits. I kind of love those relationships. That's why I do what I do. So those are kind of the big things for me.
Jonathan, how would you describe your managerial style in terms of the influences that you've had, and who are the people that have had the biggest impact on the way you view and teach the game of baseball?
First and foremost, I would probably be remiss if I didn't say my dad. He's worked in professional baseball for ever. He's 75 and he's still packing up and getting ready to go to Phoenix on Sunday for a pitching meeting thing with the Rockies. And we talk baseball ad nauseum. I suppose my mom, I gets to the point where she gets tired of hearing us talk about it. But he would be the big one for me. When I first started out as a young coach, I was under a guy by the name of John Russell that eventually managed the Pirates. And John taught me a lot. AC was an influence. When I was playing briefly with the Rockies, I had the unbelievable fortune of being around Don Zimmer for a while. And Zim, the nuggets he would throw out and the love he had for the players, and his knowledge of the game. There's so many, but those are some that stand out. Some stand out to me.
Obviously, you're familiar with a place like Parkview Field in Fort Wayne. How do you think that relates to, just your, the players you're going to have and some of those guys who are, ready to take that next step in their careers too?
I'll say this, the players, when we go to spring training, you see some of the younger kids, and depending on what level you're at, you interact with more of them maybe than some of the others, but all of the younger guys cannot wait to get to Fort Wayne. That is a huge goal of theirs in spring training. So it's, a lot of guys, it's that, are we going to go to Lake Elsinore, which is out in California? Are we going to be able to go to Fort Wayne? Lake Elsinore is 40 minutes north of San Diego. I'm sure it's beautiful and the weather is incredible, but they all want to come to Fort Wayne and play in 35-degree weather in April. But the facility is awesome. The guys want to be there. They want to play there. I on a Zoom with the staff the other day, and I basically told them we have it's a AAA ballpark for an A-ball team, and so the players, again, that's a huge goal for them. The guys that are right on that cusp, it's a huge goal in spring training for them to try to make that Fort Wayne roster.
Words not always said in the history of the U.S. Guys just can't wait to get to Fort Wayne.
Do you prefer to go by Skip?
Not necessarily. Johnny is kind of what everybody calls me. But I'll answer to that, I suppose. I don't know if any of the young players even know that's a thing anymore. Nobody hardly says that much anymore.
You talked about the players. What are you most looking forward to about getting back to Fort Wayne?
All of it. When I told the staff, I told them about the ballpark, and I told them about Mike, and I told them about the front office, and I told them about the facilities and all of that. But then beyond that, it's a great food town. I kind of love, there's a bunch of restaurants that I love going to. It's just, I don't know. I told a couple of our coaches have young kids. I told them about the zoo. So I wanted our staff, and I think they are, I wanted our staff to be excited about coming to Fort Wayne as I am. So there's just so much.
You have a favorite restaurant you'd like to share with us?
I don't want to plug one more than any other ones.